Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here once again, back again with more early Aerosmith. What can I say? I love early Aerosmith, I love all Aerosmith. And for some reason, these tutorials do really well for me here on my channel, so I think I'll keep that train a-rolling here just for a little bit longer. So then, today we're going to have a look at Kings and Queens from Draw the Line, one of the most underrated tracks from the band's vast body of music. Now, before we close in and get started, I just have a couple of things to say about this one. The rhythm parts during the verses in this one have multiple layered guitars, one maybe with a capo or possibly an open tuning. There's also some mandolin and banjo of all things going on as well. It's one of the most heavily produced songs of Aerosmith's 70s body of music. And as a result of this, the band was quite concerned about how they were going to pull this one off in a live setting. They did manage, however, but they simplified what the guitars were doing during the verses. And that's what I'm going to be teaching here in this tutorial, the way that they usually played this one live, as it's the best way to play this one on just one guitar and have it sound pretty decent. Good? Then let's close in and get started. So then, Kings and Queens, Aerosmith from Draw the Line. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial. This one starts with a whole bunch of power chords, goes a little something like this. So we're starting with an F power chord here, 2, 3. You're going to jump down to a C power chord and move it into D flat. So just move that C power chord up one spot. 2, 3, 2, 3. Then you're going to go back to F, immediately move it into F sharp. Then you're going to go back to the D flat, move it back to C. Slide it into E at the 7th fret position, and then right back to F and start over again, right? 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, C to D flat, F to F sharp. Now at this point we're going to ride this F sharp up to C. So we're going to grab a quick G, move it into A flat, and start strumming for 1 bar. Move it into B flat for 2 bars, and then into C for 2 bars. Just strumming, right? And then we drop into the first verse. So that's the opening power chord riff progression, right? F, C to D flat, F to F sharp, D flat to C, E, F, C to D flat, F to F sharp, G to A flat, B flat, C. And then we're into the first verse. So we're going to be playing this. And then repeat, right? So we're holding an F5 chord here, 8, 10, 10. You're going to go A string, D string, G string. Then you're going to lift your pinky off of the 10th fret of the G string and go A, D, skip over the G, B, G, D. Kind of like that. And you're going to repeat that 3 times. Now we're going to ride this F down to D flat. So we're going to go A, D, G, back it up to E flat 5, right? And just go A, D, G. And then we're into this chord here, which is a D flat minor 7th sus2, I believe. Basically just a bar at the 4th fret, the 4 middle strings, with this little F shape, right? So it's like 4, 6, 5, 4. Same picking pattern that we were playing in F. 3 times. And then we're going to ride it back into F, right? So the final time, the 4th time, just going to go A, D, G, D. and then back into that E flat 5 chord, right? Just A, D, Back into this again. Four times this time. Because we're going to go off to C, we're not going to ride it back into F, right? So the second time you go into this D flat chord, you're going to repeat that little arpeggiated progression 4 times. And then C for 2 bars, right? And then we're going to go back to F and repeat. Now when we're in C there, we're kind of building, right? So the first bar of this, you're hanging in this C for 2 bars. The first bar you can arpeggiate, and then you can start building, right, back into F again. C again for 4 bars this time. Build. And then we're into that. So after you hang in that C, building, building, building for 4 bars, right? Gotta go C, B, A flat, F. And then we drop right back into the opening riff again, right? Over top of that, Joe is just grabbing these unison bends pretty much with every beat over that entire riff progression, right? The second time you play through it. 13th fret of the high E, 16 of the B. Just grabbing these unison bends, right? Over and over and over again. And then we drop into the next verse. The next verse is pretty much played with power chords. So we're going to drop into F again for like 2 bars. Off to B flat for 2 bars, into G for 1 bar, into A flat for 1 bar, and then back to F. And now when you go back to F in the middle of this verse, you can kind of play that little progression, you know, lifting your pinky off, but strumming it, right? And then we're dropped right into the second half of the verse, just power chords. Back off to B flat, into G for 1 bar, and into A flat for 1 bar, and then we're back into the arpeggiated section again. No reply. Sing and play at the same time. And then off to C for 4 bars, right? They die. And then we're into the piano break with the bass, right? And that leads into the solo. So let's have a look at this solo, run through it first, and then we'll dig into how to play it. pretty much the solo right there. So we're soloing in F still, the whole song's in F, and we're starting here on the 13 of the high E, using the natural minor scale, right? 13, 15 on the 16, double bend on the 15 of the G, release it off the 13 and finish on the 15 of the D. Drop off to 12 of the G, little half step bend release. And then you're going to do a little pull off from 13 to 12 to 10. And then choke it off, right? Up to that point. And then we're into this. Just a lot of hammer-ons going on here from 8 to 9 of the B, 8 to 10 of the G, starting with a double hammer-on from 8 to 10 of the G. The second one, you're going to give an extra pick strike on that 10. And then we're into this. So we're basically just doing a hammer-on from 8 to 9 of the B and then 8 to 10 of the G. The second one, you're going to repeat this basically 3 times. The second one, an extra pick strike on that 10. And then one final one, kind of double timed, right? So that's that little section there from the bend. And then the pull off. And then one final one there, double timed, right? And then we're into this. So, classic little blues lick, we're back in this box again, bending the 15 of the G, riding down the 13s and back up to the B again, right into a double full step bend on the 16 of the B string, into this. So dropping back off to the 13s, 13 of the B, roll up to the 13 of the G, onto the 15, roll up to the 15 of the D for a double hit. Into this. So 13 of the D, then you're going to go up to the 15 of the A, chromatically go 15, 14, 13, slide it back to 11, and then grab the 13 of the A. And then slide immediately back into the 15 of the D. Kind of like that, right? So from the beginning. Into this. Just here on the 13, 15, back it up to 12, then do a little trill between 12 and 13, and then up to the 15, back to the 12, 15, off to 14, back onto 15 of the D, right? With a little slide, right? Then we're into this. Just all here on the D and G on the 13, 15, sliding into 15, starting with that, little bend pull off to 13, and then double bends here on that 15, right, repeated twice, releasing off to 13 and then on to that 15 of the D. And then we're into this again. Same little lick we played earlier, right? Bending that 15, riding down the 13s, into a double bend there on that 16 again, and then we're into this little scale run. So, coming out of this little blues lick, so we're just basically going right up the pentatonic, right? When we get to the A string, we do some chromatics, but starting on the 13 of the B, you get to the A string, 15, 14, 13, right? Off to the 11, and then up to the 13 of the A, and then just reverse it and go back down again. And when you get back to the 15 of the G, little bend release off to 13, right? And then back onto 15, double bend. Grab the 16 with your pinky on the B string, right back into another bend. Give it some vibrato, grab that 16 again with your pinky, rebend that 15, and then finish with that classic blues lick again, right? Right into a bend on that 16 to end the solo. So that is the solo. So let's take it right from the top here, nice and slow, and then we'll be done. Step bend, then the pull off. Double timed one there. And that is the solo. So, coming out of the solo, we're just right back into another verse. This song doesn't really have a chorus, right? And we're back into F, and now we're kind of chugging, right? But pulling our pinky off that 10 after every bar. 3 times. Bum, 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 back to E flat, then off to D flat, right? Now at the end of the song here, we're not going into this chord with that C note there on the 5th of the G. We're basically doing the same thing that we're doing in F, right? Just dropping into a D flat 5 chord and lifting your pinky on the 2nd bar. Bum, 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 and reverse it. Bum, 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 bum. Right, and that just continues until fade out. And that is it. That is how you play Kings and Queens by Aerosmith. Certainly hope you enjoyed that, found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button right down there. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind. Hope you're well out there, and we'll see you next time, yeah? Cheers.